I'm here to discuss with you the critique that goes around that comes from Putin and other friends of Trump of what they call American exceptionalism. And supposedly it's a staple of the left wing. Americans aren't exceptional. You think you're special. You know, you're white and sheltered, or you're a black person who's divorced from the masses. You know, there's all sorts of ways to ridicule somebody for exceptionalism, and it doesn't really matter what you personally might mean by exceptionalism. All that matters is that they know how to target a specific stereotype. It doesn't matter what the stereotype is. They study Tamo de Jong. They can stereotype a little girl. They can stereotype a scientist. They can stereotype a left wing professor. They can stereotype the rifleman. They can stereotype what they call an Uncle Tom. They can stereotype anybody. You know, it doesn't really matter. Just they send them the details and the description of the type of person, and they'll provide the rap sheet for stereotyping them. And like exceptionalism for me is Robb Elementary School being peaceful and a safe place to go to school. You know, it's a public commonwealth where people can go into a library and mingle with books and pick and choose which ones they want to check out and read. This is the simple matter of known as the Commonwealth. It's exceptionalism. And exceptionalism is present in all over the world. There are communities in Nepal where women pull resources and put together little industries for their neighborhood, like seamstress industries. And they're not sweatshops, they're run by the women. And the left wing comes in, empowered by Indonesian communists, for example, and the Mao's rub them out. And they're up against these Mao's. And it's not like they're being championed by Mitch McConnell's Republican. They're not. You know, some of the people who were dreamed up as um, self-made men might Horatio Alger types would no doubt cheer them in their activities. But that's about the limits, you know, and of course they pull their resources. They're not just self-made women. They work together nobly and admirably. And somebody comes in with the magic word collective and ruins them. You know, so you have the exceptionalism is, you have all day to wipe out the children, and you've all day, they say. And then, no, there's no pun there. There is a pun there. You know, the exceptionalism is the situation where public schools welcome children and teach them and identify which ones are having problems and give a little bit of extra time to them. The anti-exceptionalism and people like Vince Irene, the so-called Catholic worker, partnering up with Martin Sheen, who deafened, brutally tortured. That's what happened. Uh, Public school agent, like a secret agent man because he wanted to attend school and read books. He wanted to read William Shaw's Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. He wanted to understand how Edgar Allan Poe could be so remarkable. And this violated the collective. And of course, Trump wanted to smash me because when Bambi meets Godzilla, Bambi gets smashed. And so, there's the exceptionalism of the law-abiding, peaceful people who want to understand how things should and could work if people cared about going to school and health care and proper alliances. But somebody unseen pulls up stalking you in a car that's maybe stolen and masquerading with the help of Hollywood to scare you as though they're a black man when they turn out to be a white man working, throwing tomatoes for Spike Lee, and so on and so forth. I mean, it's all sleight of hand stuff from UW Dialectical. Behind the scenes of UW Dialectical is a guy called Anarchic Harmony working with Robert Anton Wilson. His work appears in the first issue of Humanism that has a picture of Kennedy bisected, January of 1964, miraculously bisected. Okay, hybrid war was going on in the United States, and Robert Anton Wilson was one of the brainstormers. And Schrodinger's cat, there's a group that are dissonant elements. They come up with an idea, and Robert Anton Wilson says, "But we were ready for an idea like that." This was published by the U.S. Army Public Safety Division in response to Vietnam, resources and control and counterinsurgency. The way that you understand counterinsurgency is by understanding the insurgency and inserting your own leaders to speak for them, which is how you get Noam Chomsky working with Oliver North, Ken Crimson working with Colin Powell, and Vince Irene working with Martin Sheen. I mean, they're in the pocket of Hollywood. Hollywood has a magic talking box that speaks all the different languages. Did you ever notice Spike Lee? He completely ignores political correctness. He has people spouting virtually line for line the things that go on in the darker moments of the Broadway musical Hair. Nobody questions him, his judgment, and barking out these for entertainment, these derogatory remarks for entertainment, until it comes time to implant the neuroplasm, stirred confusion from the white. So what they do is there was a gang of these people all along. Mae Brussels is a good example. Her work into the dark corners of Gerald Ford and various people who sat on the Warren Commission, Alan Dulles, is very fine. She does a lot of research into how the Third Reich was brought into the United States, and the United States' administration inducted into the purposes of the Third Reich after World War II. But she was funded and sponsored by John Lennon, and that's the kick in the gut, because these people have been here all along playing playing insurgency while representing a counterinsurgency, putting up the limit that you are allowed to question what they are up to. Allow them to speak for you. They will give you someone who you like and you can identify with, like Vijay Prashad or Noam Chomsky, who says all the things you want, feel that are delicious truths, but they draw the line at what was really going on with London and Ono, which was a program that was much more sophisticated than that. Nobody, and not one of them, ever admitted that I was tortured, which I was, brutally tortured. The picture that emerges of me in absolute horror came after all these years and years and years of Penis Sinfield and Penis Gabriel blaring the whole world with lies, saying I was never tortured. The experiment they used me for was just the Scared Straight program. Lies, illegal program to begin with. Lies, all of it lies, all of it. And then the picture emerges, which confirms what I was screaming and having seizures in the streets, resisting them, trying to make part of the faculty record, trying to get acknowledgement and help about. They denied it. No, it's not true. The picture emerged in that context. My resistance, my attempts to tell the truth to people and find people who respected the truth about what happened, who could admit that a nerve agent was given to me, to admit that my deafness is suspicious, was countered by the left-wing anti-exceptionalists working with Donald Trump to poison me in the mouth. So you have, but that wasn't used to like, see this picture, that, let me describe for you what happened. What I did was describe what happened, get tortured for describing what happened, get punished for describing what happened, get lied about for describing what happened, and then the picture emerged. And to the gravest indecency that you can possibly imagine, People like Paul McCartney went banging on and banging on, it's not true, it's not true, insulting the intelligence of every man, woman, and child on earth. Anybody can see from the picture and from the record that it's all true, that I was tortured, horribly tortured. And they don't care. They didn't arrest Gail Burstyn. They were working with us. So the business, they are representing the insurgency, and that's their counterinsurgency program. People like Mae Brussels and Prashad, Vijay Prashad and Noam Chomsky are partners up with Reagan and Foucault, who helped arrange the Iran-Contra affair and the taking of the hostages from the 444 symbol of the Holy Trident mission of the fourth dimension that I talk about in my other videos. So you can learn a lot about them, what's happening from these people, and there's certain things that they're willing to tell you in limited hangout. But what they won't tell you is that Noam Chomsky was a ringleader working with, Reagan and Mikhail Gorbachev on, depopulation measures that were kinder and gentler than the Third Reich. And people who believed that America could help lead the way to a public education system that internationally grappled with resource management, sustainability, and public schools and Commonwealth, and encourage indigenous industries like the kinds in Nepal where wives get together, pool their resources, and create garment manufacturing. Get noticed, of course, by the squires of the Vince Irene, Martin Sheen. Oh, let's pick one. The neoliberalisms. Let's make one famous. This kind of the people who believed in the hopes of human welfare are tarred and feathered as exceptionalists. They're considered exceptionalism. People from the left never miss a chance to kick JFK. Never miss a chance. They never miss a chance to rehabilitate Ronald Reagan. Oh, but secretly he was like Noam Chomsky. Secretly, Trumpy tuned this and that and the other. Well, he makes a good case. Trump said something that was true, and he found it delicious to hear somebody say something that was true from the American administration. But what he doesn't say is that they don't say what they're both keeping secret, because the left won't tolerate it. The left won't tolerate it because they have been told that Jimmy Carrey is pretending amnesia. He doesn't admit that he was a pushy deaf kid trying to get laid. And this comes right from the mouth of the intelligence circles who worked with organized Neva pornographic corporations under Granger Morgan at Carnegie Mellon University while stealing from the museums and giving money to Danny Ortega. Peter Shaw was like that. He was committing a lot of crimes for money and hustling to the new people, the people, which is the Thomas Merton Center gig of surveillancing for Neva Corporation who the prostitutes on the block are going to belong to. It's a human trafficking syndicate that calls itself Catholic work. In Pittsburgh. And then it comes right from their mouths. They working with Geiger Morgan and the obscene far right wing, right straight from the secret tape machine of Licky Top's point of that Ripper murdered Shannon Harps and killed Cersei Kennedy and a couple more Kennedys, as to ante up for the brilliance of UW Dialectical, working with Robert Anton Wilson. And they think they are in a position to tar and feather somebody who just wants to go to school as an exceptionalist. You think you're so exceptional. It's ludicrous. And to say it's scary is a major understatement. But how do they get the pitchforks gang out? They go to Topeka, Kansas, okay, the heartbeat of the Midwest, where my grandparents were from. And they say, Jimmy Carrey is secretly in league with the devil. When he was little, he was an anti-Vietnam War communist. And now he's saying we shouldn't be rude to someone who was nice to us when Trump was sick. You see, there's something wrong with him. He's not one of us. He's not kin. His grandmother would didn't understand what had taken place in his twisted mind, and he's denying that his salvation lies in the loyalty to John Lennon, who was a secret partner of Ronald Reagan. Yeah, Brother Casper was the honorary Yasukuni shrine spirit of Bitburg Belsen, and only by portraying Hitler as Lazarus, the chaplain redeemed for the Franklin Graham Corporation, will how Jesus emerge from Jimmy Creary because he's tainted by the shadow of an ancient adversary that is beyond comprehension. We'll get it to play. We'll get the record to play. We'll get him to tell you all about the carrots in the field of the rabbits breeding like rabbits. What are they doing, Jimmy? Tell us about the carrots. What's up, Doc? What's up, Jimmy? Hoot, 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 hoot. And they were behind the scenes, Revolution #9, Tootie Coke with their dinner and pounding me in a closet in the Westminster district, blaring King Crimson at the top of the loudest the loudspeakers could go, and saying, "You'll get by, you'll forgive, you'll be okay. In the end, you'll see, Jimmy. Don't be afraid of us. Just do what we tell you to do." And they input neurosignals that they then call neurotransmitters in their research from Wattenmaker, a neurobehavioral research from the Israeli extreme, who implanted the neuroplasm and then extrude tapes that they put in through Warhol and Revolution #9 that don't even have anything to do with me. They just think the soundtrack in the background of the memory system of the golem, whose memory was frozen shut and then extruded by Woody Allen and his friends. It's a laugh from Hollywood. And you expect me to buckle under the tyranny of Vijay Prashad when he calls me an exceptionalist and amnesia, daydreaming about the white knight JFK. It's absurd. The children in Robb Elementary just wanted to go to school. They're not heathen. They're not atheists. They're not angels. They're nothing but children. And they wanted to go to school. How is that something that's terrible? How is that something that's wrong? Well, it's wrong because Vince Irini would do something even kinder and gentler to them if his gang got their hands on them, is what the new people want to know. What's going on in all these elementary schools? They want peep, licky chops peep. I went to the administration of the elementary school in Pittsburgh and cried that I was going to be killed. I was sent there by Mr. Mady. I bit my fingernails bloody. And he wondered, why were you crying? Why are you so scared? And they said, they're going to kill me. And when I disappeared for a month, they didn't even report my absence. I was kidnapped and tortured. I didn't even know it had happened. And the karma was so severe. And they say, oh, you're pleading for your life. You're a coward. I'm telling the truth. If I was such a disobedient child, mother says, oh, he went out on the roof, nobody could tell him what to do, then why did I give up my tickets to Selling by the Pound 2 days after King Crimson? Because I was caught cutting, she said. I obeyed her. I cried. I wanted to see Selling by the Pound. I was so obedient and saddened by it that she gave me money to go to Ottawa some 30 years later to see the musical box tribute band put on Selling by the Pound. I went all the way to Ottawa. Well, there was a Picasso exhibit. He worked with Prokofiev, who worked with Sergei Eisenstein. I mean, there's a lot of history. I love history. But I was deaf. I couldn't go to school. They wouldn't let me go to school. What did they do? They wanted to watch me stare into space while they poisoned me in the mouth. Because you don't play all exceptional with Seattle. No, you don't play exceptional. No, because we've heard they call me Creary and letters Creary, Tom or something, who ran the poetry gate. Said you talk about people who we know and we like. What do you mean? He calls me Creary. What did I talk about? The people who you know, and you tell me you know and you like the people who torture me. Is that your problem? And they say, oh no, because we got hookers hired by Queen Elizabeth on the phone who says, no, 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 Cuervo was never tortured. And Queen Elizabeth's working hanky pank with Peter Gabriel, right? I mean, he was married into her family way back when, right? I mean, isn't he the one I cried because mother wouldn't let me go to see? I obeyed her. I said, okay, take tickets. I mean, it gave them to somebody who, couple of people who were friends, of each other, who were sufficiently dominating over me that they heard that I had 2 tickets I couldn't use. So, hey, man, give them Dutch, give them Dutch, give them Dutch. Thanks, man, thanks. It's all friendly stuff, right? That's why I was hiding in my towel closet and moved. That's why they had to lock the house from the inside when these people came in. They had to lock the house from the inside so I couldn't get out when they confront. Well, that's a fair shake. I think you know what we're saying, boy. This is nightmare weaselry. It's nightmare weaselry. And behind the stuff getting its justifications are these cranks from UW Dialectical.